Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Last video I talked about products for mature skin. This time I'm going to teach you how to apply them, but I'm going to add a couple extras. Check it out. Alright ladies, let's get started. So we talked about products on that last video for mature skin. I actually want to do an application, and there were some products I didn't get to mention because I've recently tried them out and I am in love. So right now I have nothing on. I just have a moisturizer and a primer, and the primer I used was this Makeup Forever Step 1. I really like this primer, so in combination with this new foundation, I am in love. I found my brand new foundation that I'm probably going to wear throughout the spring and the summertime because it is a very lightweight, but yet still covers up all my imperfections right now. My skin is like, it's so frustrating right now. But it's good to show you that even though it's not perfect right now, this is actually a really good foundation. This product actually performs a lot better with a brush. And I don't usually use a brush to apply my foundation. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm actually a bigger fan of applying foundation with a beauty blender because it gives a more natural finish. But that's with the heavier foundation. So the Born This Way, the Giorgio Armani, those I would apply with a beauty blender. But this particular product, because it is such a thin product, I really, really like applying it with the brush. And after I applied it with the brush, I was like, oh, wow, that was like an opera. Not so much. Yeah, I know. My dream of being a singer is just never gonna happen, but that's okay. I've accepted it. But this Skin Love, okay, let's just get back to it. I cannot wait to apply this on camera. This is not a first impression. This is not a brand new product. This was actually, I think, launched last year by Becca Cosmetics. And Becca she's a former makeup artist. She knows how to produce some really great products for the skin, especially for mature skin. So only at Ulta, by purchasing the $44 foundation, any of their foundations, you can get this little box that it comes in, and it comes with a travel size primer and a travel size setting powder. I wasn't a fan of this setting powder, so I really wanted to try this First Light primer, and it only came with this one, so I'm just not a big fan of it. I'm gonna use the other setting powder today because you guys are gonna be blown away with how amazing it is. This one is like a soft blurring, I don't even know what it's called, but I heard through the rumors that they're actually getting rid of this one. Now you can get the Hydra-Mist travel size with the other primer that Becca has. I think it's her mattifying primer. I just wanted to try the purple one. I am gonna try out the Cover FX gripping primer, so stay tuned for that. I wanted to do that in a whole separate video with my Laura Mercier foundation that I fell in love with recently too, for a more full coverage look. But today we're gonna concentrate on a very basic, natural, beautiful springtime look where it just leaves your skin nice and glowy and beautiful, but yet glamorous. All right, guys, let's get started. So I'm gonna use the Morphe M439 brush. I feel like this is a really good brush for those that don't want to go and spend a ton of money on brushes, and I feel like it applies it so beautifully, just as good as like an expensive brush. So I am very impressed. This is a $15 brush, but if you use the $3.50 off coupon at Ulta, it is $11. So this Becca Skin Love, I'm going to show you the packaging. That's what it looks like. It comes in a tube. And this is, I want to say 1.23 ounces. This is a weightless, medium to buildable coverage with a velvety natural finish that mimics the look of smooth, healthy skin. And it's called Skin Love Weightless Blur Foundation. So I'm using Driftwood. So if you're close to my skin tone, that's probably what you would be. I'm actually just gonna squirt it on one of my fingers. So I'm putting it on like my middle finger, and I am just going to plop it on my skin like that. And I'm just gonna go just on this side of the face for right now. And I'm gonna take that Morphe brush and I'm just going to just kind of stipple it and use a little bit of swirling motions in there. Oh. But it just like, I'm so not used to using foundation brushes, so it seems so weird for it to go by so quickly. I feel like I'm so used to like spending 20 minutes pouncing in the product that it just feels like so nice to just take this brush. So I have a blemish right there. unfortunately, but that's okay. We're just going to ignore that and just go with it. It's that time of the month, you know? You know, ladies, you feel me? Those of you that are still having a cycle, are you feeling me? All right, so I just do a little bit at a time. I just don't want to pour a bunch on the back of my hand and waste product. I just feel like, especially since I'm not really using a beauty blender. So I'm just gonna go in. I haven't done anything like my eyebrows or anything, so I'm trying to grow out my eyebrows, so just bear with me. Yeah, look at how beautiful that applies. It's a very, very natural finish. It's like that perfect finish that I like. It's not too mattifying, and it's not mattifying at all, yet it's not too luminous either, which I don't really like too luminous. I'm gonna go on this side. So if you have a lot of areas to cover up and you just want a more fuller coverage foundation, this is probably not gonna be for you. But let me tell you guys, the best thing you can do is really, I like to kind of stipple and rub at the same time. The best thing you can do is conceal the areas of imperfection and use this as just like a little bit of a finish, because the less products you put on your face, the less chance it's going to set into your fine lines. So sometimes, even though we like those fuller coverage foundations, I like to go down my neck too. Always kind of go down your neck, go in your ears. I don't usually wear my earrings first, but that's okay. It's probably going to get all foundation-y. Yep, that's all right. See, I lose track of what I'm saying, is you want to make sure you cover all the areas, really get in your hairline, really push the product everywhere so that everything blends. But see, this color is like perfect for me right now. But if you remember, it's gonna oxidize a little too. So the reason why I'm for using the brush versus the beauty blender on this product is because I feel like it's going to deposit a little bit more coverage than a beauty blender. So again, like I said earlier, when you use a beauty blender on thicker foundations, you're just kind of taking down that consistency of a thick foundation. Whereas when you're using a lighter foundation, you want to make sure, if you want that little bit more of a fuller coverage, you go in with a brush, because you're always going to get more coverage with a brush than you are a beauty blender. So it just depends. I mean, it really is dependent on your preference on whether you like a heavy foundation or a lighter foundation. I'm trying to get myself weaned into more lighter foundations and not such full heavy coverage, because my skin isn't bad, it's just where those hormonal breakouts are. So if I'm trying to cover those, I'd rather spot conceal those areas and use a lighter foundation so it doesn't set into like my fine line areas. I just find that it's going to be a better finish for me than using a really thick foundation plus more concealer. Now, if I was going somewhere and I was really going to like an event and I was gonna do a huge smoky eye and just really get glam, then I'm gonna go in with a little bit heavier foundation. But when I'm just going for a normal day, everyday look, even just out to dinner, I don't need that thick, heavy foundation. I just need something very lightweight and very breathable and very beautiful on the skin that's not going to set into the fine lines. So that's why I like this foundation a lot, and that's why I like applying it with a brush, because I still get a little bit more coverage than I would normally want. Now, if my skin clears up and I don't have areas to cover, I probably will go in with a beauty blender and that was good, and go in with a foundation with a beauty blender. But right now, because I'm trying to transition into a full coverage, into a lighter coverage, I'm gonna have to take baby steps because I'm used to that full coverage foundation. Now, as far as light foundations, I do feel like it is on the more fuller coverage side than a normal lighter foundation. So I'll give that to Becca, but it really doesn't like pronounce any of the areas skin texture wise. So I like that. Now what I like is it's not like accentuating my pores, it's just kind of nicely laying on top of it. So again, remember you have to use a good primer though, because otherwise if you don't have a good primer, I just like to stipple it, almost like if I was using a beauty blender, and I just like to stipple that area. Now what I do like to do is after I'm done using the brush, I like to go in with my damp beauty blender don't forget to dampen your beauty blender. So how to do that is you go underneath the sink and you kind of work the beauty sponge into the water, and then you just squeeze out the excess water. And what I like to do is like take a towel and just kind of make sure it's not too damp, but it's still damp enough. You want it to be damp enough where it's just basically bounces off the skin. It leaves a little bit of moisture, but not too much. So this is what I like to do after I went in with the brush, just to make sure that everything is nice and pressed into the skin and blend it. So you did use a brush, you want to just make sure there's no streak marks, which is good about the Morphe brushes. I didn't find that it did any streak marks, so that's what's nice. But yes, I mean, look at this finish, you guys. It is so beautiful. I really like it. It's a very natural foundation. I just love how pretty it looks. And I'll just go in and use the concealer on the areas that I'm not really that excited with right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Tarte Shape Tape and my Maybelline Age Rewind. Those are my two favorites together. Again, like I said in the other video, if you are probably like 60 and up, or I would even say like 55 and up, I probably wouldn't use the Tarte Shape Tape. I'm gonna be 41 this month, so I'm not quite there yet, so I'm gonna hold on to my Tarte Shape Tape as long as I can, but I would use the Maybelline Age Rewind by itself because it is a beautiful concealer on its own. I just like, I don't know, I'm a big fan of Tarte Shape Tape, so I like to use them in combination so that's not so drying, and I can kind of preserve my Tarte Shape Tape and not use too much of it. So that's my reasoning behind it. So we're gonna go in with the concealer now. I'm gonna teach you guys how to put the concealer on. Remember, this is for people that don't do makeup that often, so if you're advanced, this is probably gonna be boring for you. Check out my other videos. So what I would normally do is, now you could skip this step if you're not gonna use Tarte Shape Tape, but I would do this, and I'm just gonna do a little bit today. I'm gonna go in like a little V right there, just like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in on this side and do the same thing. Then I'm gonna take the Maybelline Age Rewind, and what you wanna do is you wanna make sure to twist the top, and then you just do a little bit right there. Oh, that came out a lot more than I thought. See, a lot comes out of this, so be careful. And then I'm just gonna go up here and just go down here, basically where the sun would highlight you normally. And then I'm gonna take my Beauty Blender in the pointed part, because we wanna get into there, and then just blend out. And I like to go over my eyelids because I'm gonna use that as my eyeshadow base. Now there's really no product at this point, so I'm just kind of using even though it looks like there's product, it's just because it's dirty. Because it's a white beauty blender and it just doesn't clean off. All right, so and this is the actual beauty blender. This one is $20. So I know I talked about in the other video that Morphe has a really good one for $7. And I do really like this one too. It just depends on the day. All in all, I mean, the finish is absolutely beautiful with this Skin Lab. Okay, so before I talk too much, let's set, because we don't want anything to start setting in. Remember what I said in the other video, if you don't set right away, sometimes it's gonna start creasing. If you like smiling, all those lines are gonna start showing. So we did that. What I like to do is to kind of take my finger and those areas that I concealed, I'm just gonna kind of smooth that out before it starts wrinkling up. All right, guys, so the Hydra-Mist setting powder by Becca, I am just flabbergasted, like I said earlier, on how good this product is. This is not a setting powder that you wanna use all over your face. You just wanna use it on the perimeters of your face, and your under eye area, you're still gonna go in with like either your Charlotte Tilbury powder, like I said before, or like a Cover FX or Laura Mercier setting powder for under the eye area. So what I'm gonna do first is set the under eye concealer. Since we used a brush, I'm actually gonna set my Charlotte Tilbury with the Morphe sponge. And I love this contour sponge. And if you don't wanna buy both sponges, you don't have to. You can just buy the Morphe one and use this for your concealer as well. But I like this flat side of this contour sponge, and I'm gonna just kind of swipe the powder like that, and I'm just gonna go in and just pounce it under the eye. Since we did use the foundation brush, I like to use a sponge to set the powder. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically if you're using a foundation brush like I did with the Morphe, and I used it for the actual Skin Love foundation, I feel like even though we did pounce it in with the Beauty Blender, it still has the opportunity to move around and shift. So what I like to do is take the sponge to really get that powder and set it in there and really place it into the skin, so there's no shifting, there's no Maybe it won't with a brush, but I just feel like just in case, at least it's my insurance policy to know that if I use a beauty sponge to set the powder, I'm not gonna get any shifting. What I mean by shifting is like this foundation moving around and showing lines and creases and streaks. You don't want that. You just did your foundation. The last thing you wanna do is, when you go to set it, have lines and stuff like that. So it's just like an insurance policy. So I'm just gonna take that a little bit all over. Now, since I really just set it, I'm gonna take this Morphe E41 and just kind of stipple it into my skin. Just make sure I soften everything before I go in with the other one. So now I set the under eye area. All right, this Becca Hydra-Mist, let's go in with it. So this is a new one. It says, keep me closed to keep me cool. Oh, so don't take off this sticker. Oops, as I was trying to take off the sticker, don't take off the sticker. So let's see, how do I open this? How does it open? Show, oh, there we go. That was easy. All right, it just flips up. There's no sticker to open it. So don't take off that white sticker. I almost did, and see, I didn't read instructions. And then it comes, oh, okay, so there is a little sticker inside here. So you're gonna pull that out. Ooh, make sure I don't get waste any product. All right, so it has like a spongy effect, which is nice. I can't really like do it too much because I don't want it to pour out, but nice little spongy effect. Let me read about it. It's the Hydra-Mist. It's actually an Allure magazine, like Christy Allure. Allure means beauty. Allure awarded setting powder. It's a bestseller Hydra-Mist Set and Refresh Powder for $39. You get 0.35 ounces. It is almost a 5-star product. It is a loose setting powder that sets your makeup with a revitalizing mist-like effect on your skin. And I'm not kidding you guys. It almost feels like when she put it on me in store with the brush, I thought she wet her brush and then put it on me. That's how moist it was. It was like a cooling moist effect. It was the most insanely weird but good feeling I have ever felt. So it sets, refreshes makeup with no photo flashback. Again, she was a makeup artist, Becca, so she tries to put a lot of stuff in her products that could be a concern to most people. And then it blurs the fine lines and gives you a cooling effect. Now, I love it for all year long, but it's gonna be really nice during the summertime or springtime when it starts to get warmer. It's really cold right now. So I'm gonna take a little bit and put it into this top part because I don't know why I always do that, which I probably put too much in there, but that's okay. I am actually going to set it with a sponge. I just want to try that because she set it with a brush and it was nice, but I just want to try it with a sponge. Let's just go in with it. I mean, come on, we got to try it out. I want to see how it works with a sponge, but we'll do both. We'll do one side sponge, one side brush. And then you're just going to go and remember, don't go under your eye. Go more on the perimeters of your face. And just go in. So I can't tell the cooling effect because the sponge is already moist. So let's go in with the brush instead. I changed my mind. All right, let's take this more inexpensive brush, and this is an e.l.f. brush. I really like this brush. It's like a little bit more pricey for an e.l.f. brush, but it's still a lot cheaper than most of the luxury brands. I like it because it has a nice flat side to it, which is really nice. And it's a very, very good brush. Oh my gosh, see, it feels wet. That is so crazy. Oh my goodness. So yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh, it feels so good. So the point of this, I want to say it's 50% water, is that it's actually going to plump your skin. So even though you're setting powder down, you're actually still plumping it up, which is nice because usually powder is going to mattify you and dry you and shrivel you. So it works like a powder, but yet it has a plumping effect to it. I am telling you guys, you are so going to love this product. I am like, oh, I'm just so impressed by it. Yeah, it's just so, you have to try it out to really know what I'm talking about, but it literally feels like I stuck this brush underneath the sink and wet it, and I didn't. It was a completely dry brush, but it gives you that feeling. But even though it's not messy, and it's kind of scary in a sense because you're thinking, I just did my foundation, I just did my concealer. Well, you're not gonna put in the concealer areas, but am I gonna mess up everything? That was what I was afraid of when she was setting it. I was like, oh no, girl, my makeup looks so good right now. Don't mess it up. But then when she did it, I was like, I really like it. I really, really like it. Wow. This is like gold mine for mature skin for 40 and up. Okay, so the powder is done. Now the next step I would do is my eyebrows. So I'm gonna take my Benefit eyebrow pencil, the Precisely My Brow. This is the one I suggested in that video, and I'm just going to comb up. I never do my brows on camera, but I really wanted to show my basic routine and help people out that are trying to get into makeup. I gotta get this bigger side because I can't see that well. And then my eyebrows I'm growing out right now, so they're really sparse and not great, but I'm trying to grow them out because I over plucked them. Oh, what is going on here? What is going on there? All right. I don't know why that was there, but that's okay. Now what I would do is I'm just going to kind of fill in the brow area. I'm just gonna go for a more natural look, and I just go into the areas that I feel are very sparse and very empty. My eyebrows tend to go downwards, so I don't have the beautiful spiky, they go up in the front area. I just don't have that. It's just not gonna, I try to create that look, and I can do it with soap, but I can't get it to just do it on normal days. Okay, let's get this area. This is my troubled area right here. So this is where I'm going, if you notice I'm holding the brush very low to give a very light hand. This is 3.5 because I'm blonde and I don't want too much color there. So there. Now you're gonna take the spoolie end and just comb it through the brow area that you place the pencil area, and that's just gonna make it look more natural and less harsh. So you're just kind of creating a little bit of it. So I took a little too much off there. Again, I'm not doing like a total eyebrow look right now. I'm just kind of going for more natural. I just want to make it easy for people that don't want to do that much. I'm gonna go really light-handed, and I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna brush, pretend like I'm mimicking hair. So I'm gonna make like hair-like strokes in the front. Just going like this, just like that. Almost like you're creating little hairs. And I'm just gonna do that really light-handed, and then I'm gonna take that, again, the spoolie, and brush it up like that. Now, if you already have hair there, you don't need to do that, but I don't because I went crazy with my tweezers a while back and I got rid of them all. So really where you want the part more filled in is like that middle section, and then create a little bit of a tail, and then again, just go like this. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible, but my eyebrows are a little crazy, so they're not as easy to kind of go that easy. But this would be like a natural brow look for me. This would be my quick natural brow. So I'm gonna go with actually the Legendary Brow. This is the color Linda. If you have blonde hair, it's a perfect color to me. And then I would just kind of like comb up where that little front area is, just to make sure it all stays in place. And then I'm just gonna this kind of fills in some of those gaps, and just comb it in like that. I'm still perfecting my eyebrows, let me tell you, it's a process, and boy do I get ridiculed on YouTube sometimes with my eyebrow. Can't please everybody, can we? Just make sure that everything is nice and blended. All right, I'm gonna do the other side and I'll be right back. All right guys, I'm back. My eyebrows are just not cooperating today. You know, it's just one of those days, it's okay. Most of my days are like that with my eyebrows. But just remember, eyebrows are not identical twins. They're more like fraternal twins. They look alike, but they're not really alike. There's a lot of differences between the two of them, and they grow differently and they get shaped differently, and you try to do the best you can, but unless you have those beautiful, perfect eyebrows, it's just almost impossible sometimes to do it consistently the same way every single time. But that's okay, I'm perfecting it, I'm getting better, but I just really wanted to give you guys more of a simple eyebrow routine rather than a more extravagant one. Again, you don't even have to use a pencil. You can just go in, if you already have great eyebrows, just go in with this, like the spoolie, the mascara type spoolies, and just kind of place it. And sometimes, especially for mature people, if you have like grays in your eyebrows, this is just gonna help kind of create more youthful eyebrows again and get rid of the gray. Not permanently, just while you put your makeup on, it's gonna wash off, but at least if you're going somewhere nice, you do want to kind of have something on your brows. Just don't leave them blank if you're going to do foundation and bronzer or anything else. Just make sure you have something on your brows. So simple eyebrow routine, nothing too extravagant. Again, I'm not going to go into a full glam look. I just want to give you something very natural. Now I'm going to take my Hoola bronzer, since we did our eyebrows, and I'm just going to kind of carve out a little bit and give like a little bronzed effect. Nothing too contour, nothing too difficult. So I'm not even gonna go in with my Smashbox contour brush. I'm actually just gonna go in with my Morphe R14. I should know these numbers by now because it's the same brushes I use in every video. I'm gonna go in with my Hoola bronzer, like I suggested in that video, and I'm just gonna kind of go like this and just kind of go along that area, the hollows of my cheek. So almost creating a little bit of a contour, but not too much. Let me go into this. Make like those sucked in. Say you're self-conscious of your forehead, you could just go along the perimeters of your face and just kind of go into the hairline and push that bronzer in there, and this kind of minimizes your forehead. If you have a forehead that you just feel like, oh, you feel big there. And then I go, this right here will slim out your jawline. So I'm not really doing a full contour. If you want to check out that video, I'll link it above. But this is more just for an easy bronzed application. This kind of creates a slimmer jawline right there. So just kind of something simple, easy, nothing too fancy. I want to make this as easy as possible because I know there's a lot of women out there that just don't want to spend a lot of time on their makeup. So that's pretty much like what you could do. You can leave it there as far as your face part, not your eyes, but your face. You can just kind of leave it that way, or you can add a little blush to it, and you would take, I'm going to take my IT Cosmetics blush brush. Again, I love the IT Cosmetics brushes. I think they're wonderful, especially for mature skin. I'm going to take my MAC Peaches, like I suggested in that video, and I'm just going to go on the apples of my cheeks. And what I'm going to do is just kind of smile a little and just kind of go on the apples of my cheek right there. Just like that. Just like that. Very soft. So the bronzer I kind of did more right here, and then the blush I'm going to go more on the apples of my cheek. You don't have to do the smiley. I kind of do both. I don't know, it just depends on the look I want. But yeah, you can just kind of do it that way. Now, if you really want to go like, really like kind of make your cheekbones stick out a little bit and kind of like narrow out your face a little, you could take a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury and like just like a medium-sized brush. And if you really just kind of like make your face look more narrow and really kind of make your cheekbones stick out, you can go make that same little face and go underneath the contour like that. And that is just kind of shadowing it, so that you make sure that the darker's here and the lighter's underneath it. It just kind of makes your face look a little bit more sculptured that way. Another option, and this is just an option because I did bring this up in the video, in that product suggestion video, is take the Kat Von D right there, that middle shade, that Lyric shade. And again, you can purchase that separately. You don't have to purchase the entire contour palette. As you can tell, that's pretty much the only one I use. So, and take your Morphe sponge again and just swish it in there like that. And just go underneath the eye like that. And you're gonna brighten that area. It has a little bit of a yellow base to it. So it's nice because it just brightens that area underneath your eye. So you could do that. So I'm gonna clean it up, but that's pretty much what it's doing. So again, you got the light, and then the little bit darker area right there to shade. So I really love that look. I like to do it on my face. And then take that same brush we did for underneath there and just kind of, actually I would take even this brush right here because it's a little bit fluffier, a little bit lighter, and there's no product on it. You don't want any product on there. And just kind of blend it, get off that excess powder, just like that. And what I like about that Kat Von D one is I can use it as an eyeshadow setting too. Now I didn't set it right away, so I had already put concealer when I did my concealer. So now I have to take that damp beauty blender and go back in there and just make sure that there's no creases. There's still product on there, so I didn't put any more concealer on there. I'm just going with what's already on the sponge and just making sure that I soften out all the lines, make sure there's no fine lines showing. Now go in with the powder and just set it. And it gives a nice cream-like base, almost like I have eyeshadow on. She now has online, you can buy them individually. So they'll be really small that way, and you can either do that row, or that row, depending on your coloring. So if you're very fair skin, you'd want to go that route. If you're like me, that's like light to medium, you would do that. And then if you're a little bit darker, not real dark, but if you're a little bit darker, you would do that contour side. So I like it. It's like $22, I want to say, and this is $49. But this little section would only be $22 where you get that color, which I love using that for eyeshadow as well. Actually, let's just do that for today instead of using the Hoola bronzer. I was going to use the Hoola bronzer, but we'll use that shade as my transition shade. And all we're doing is kind of what would be considered the transition shade. We're just kind of creating a nice little soft contour on the eyelid area just to kind of give it a little bit of zazazoo, so to speak. So I'm going to take this MAC 224 brush because I love the MAC 224 brushes. It's a very easy brush to work with. Very easy brush. If you can only afford one brush for eyeshadow, I would get the MAC 224. In my opinion, it's the best brush for very basic makeup, and it just literally blends it for you. A lot of eyeshadow brushes, you have to sit there and work it. You have to make sure you don't put too much product, and it's going to be harder to blend, where this one just blends like a dream. So if you're a very beginner, I would go with more this brush. So I'm going to take that middle color. So say you just bought that middle section for $22, the Lyric and that one, or even that one, depending on your skin tone. So this is going to be perfect for me. I'm going to take that MAC 224, just going to lightly dip it in there because there's a lot of pigment in that contour. And I'm just going to start contouring my eyelid and creating like an eyeshadow look. And again, just roll here and then just like a windshield wiper go in. See how pretty that is? It like almost like creates like you have, like you're using an actual eyeshadow palette, but it's really just the contour kit. So it's a multi-purpose product. Now normally I would use my Hoola bronzer with that. I like either one. I mean, I still am a bigger fan of the Hoola bronzer if I'm being like 100% honest. You still can create that nice soft contour shadow look, very natural, but it looks like you have something on versus nothing. So it's very simple. See, you just 224 in that bronzer or the Hoola bronzer, either one, and it just spices it up. And then if you want to, you can add eyelashes. If you want, you can just do mascara. It's up to you. I'm gonna do my lashes. I like the Kiss lashes or the Ardell lashes for affordable lashes. I don't wanna do anything too expensive. The Kiss ones are $2.99. The Ardell's usually about $4.99. So it's all preference. I personally like the Kiss ones the best. I'm gonna put these on off camera and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I applied my lashes off camera. I'm an eyelash girl. Like I said, some people like extensions, like my mom. I just like lashes. I just feel like it puts my look together, but it's just too much for a lot of people. But two mascaras like I recommended are the Maybelline Lash Discovery or the Voluminous L'Oreal. I like them both. They're both very beautiful. I'll apply both of them on my lower lids just to kind of show you guys. This is the Voluminous Carbon Black, waterproof. Always go waterproof. And all I do is just kind of brush it onto those lower lashes, just kind of wiggle it like that. I am going to show you one step further and put a little bit of highlighter on. And you know I talk about highlighters. I love highlighters. This Becca highlighter, again, she just knows what she's doing. And I talked about it in that other video. If you're going to use a highlighter, especially for mature skin, you've got to use a Becca one. It's going to be a little bit pricier, but I think it's $39. You know, I always put it on the bottom, and then I'll link it in the description box as well. And I'm going to take my Sigma F35, but any brush like this, the Morphe 510, I always talk about that brush, is another good one. I like the Sigma one because I just like a little bit more pigment, but you know, any of these kind of like skinny dome brushes will work. And then you're just going to take it right here, just on the top of your cheekbone, and it just kind of highlights that area, just like that. It's very subtle, very beautiful. This is Moonstone, the Becca highlighter in Moonstone. There's Champagne Pop, which is beautiful. It's my other favorite. I'm just gonna put some lips on real quick. I like the Bare Minerals Moxie lip liners are really good. And then drugstore wise, I like LA Girl is a really good one. And then I'm just gonna take the Revlon Color Matte Balm because I know some of you like to wear lipstick and you don't wanna always just wear lip glosses. This is just an option. This is gonna be a little bit darker of a color, but again, if you like that matte, you don't want it to go everywhere kind of look, this is a very good option. Love this color. I love the feel of this lip balm. And that's it, guys. Okay, now take your setting spray. I like the Morphe Setting Mist. I also like MAC Fix Plus. I like this one. It's an aerosol, so it's nice, fine mist to it. And it's like $14, if that. And again, $3.50 off coupon. Buy your stuff on separate days so you can get the $3.50 off. Just a little bit of a trick. And then go in and just spray your face like that. What this is gonna do is it's gonna lock everything into place, and if you used any powders, it's gonna bring your face back to vibrancy and not so mattified and cakey. It's just gonna give it a little bit more glowy effect. All right, guys, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to give you an actual tutorial of the products and what I talked about in the last video, so be sure to check out that last video if you haven't. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Give this video a huge thumbs up. Set your notification bell for future videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.